National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan held 2 days of talks with China's foreign minister in Malta over the weekend. Their meeting coming ahead of the Chinese foreign minister's 4-day trip to Russia, which kicks off today, and a potential meeting between President Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Both sides describing the talks as, quote, candid, substantive, and constructive. But, of course, this administration has done very little to stop the massive aggression coming out of communist China against the United States. Let's get into it now with Gatestone Institute senior fellow, author of The Coming Collapse of China and China is Going to War, Gordon Chang, back with me this morning. Gordon, thanks very much for being here. Assess this meeting with the foreign minister and these consistent efforts from Joe Biden to get a meeting with Xi Jinping. All the while, communist China continues to be aggressive against the United States with a surveillance program and bullying in international waters.
This meeting between Jake Sullivan and Wang Yi was a mistake even before it started. And the reason is we've sent 4 senior officials to Beijing in a row. Now, why Wang Yi couldn't come to the United States, I have no idea. But the point is the Biden administration is reinforcing Xi Jinping's idea that the United States is a supplicant, because in imperial times, it was supplicants who sent their officials to the Chinese court. The Chinese court didn't send their officials to other places. And so what we have right now is Biden making Beijing even worse than it normally is. This is really bad diplomacy.
That is exactly right. And while we have sent these 4 cabinet members or advisors over to China, every time they go, they get embarrassed. I mean, let's face it, they fed Janet Yellen psychedelic mushrooms. She actually took hallucinogenics from her Chinese counterparts and then laughed about it afterwards. She's over there bowing. You've got John Kerry, while he was still on the ground in China, Xi Jinping comes out and says, nobody's going to tell us what to do about our climate policies. It goes on, and the CCP propaganda is now on full blast. I want to ask you about this Elon Musk comment, Gordon, because Tuesday of last week, Elon Musk, who, by the way, has 40% of his manufacturing in Shanghai, so know that. But he said that Taiwan is an integral part of China. He noted that China's policy to reunite with Taiwan is appropriate, and he placed blame on the United States for stopping any sort of reunification effort in the East China Sea. Here's Elon Musk. Listen to this.
You know, the fundamental thing here is really Taiwan. China has, well, really since for like half a century or so, maybe longer at this point, but their policy has been to sort of reunite Taiwan with China. From this standpoint, you know, maybe it's analogous to like Hawaii or something like that, like an integral part of China that is arbitrarily not part of China.
Gordon, your thoughts?
Well, the problem here is it's not just Elon Musk. It's also Larry Fink. It's Ray Dalio. It's all of them. And that is that they have incentives to repeat Communist Party narratives. And we must eliminate those incentives if we're going to maintain our sovereignty and if we're going to keep our country. Now, Elon Musk not only has Tesla, but he also has SpaceX. And Congress has actually thought about Musk's China connections with regard to SpaceX, because SpaceX is critical to our future. And we're worried that China may put pressure on Musk to not only talk about Taiwan, but to do things with SpaceX that would harm our space efforts.
Well, this is a major point that you're making. Do you believe Congress is aware of this?
Congress is aware of this, but right now, the Biden administration has been dog whistling for companies to stay in China, and that is absolutely the wrong thing. Now, of course, there's going to be economic damage to the U.S. as American companies get out of China, but we really don't have a choice because the alternatives are far, far worse. China is preparing to go to war. And it's not only that, China is surveying the United States for nuclear weapons strikes. So we got to realize the gravity of this. And the problems inside the Chinese regime right now indicate that Xi Jinping, in the rocket force, which controls almost all of China's nuclear weapons, he's now installing officers who will obey his orders to push the button when he gives it. So we're much closer to a nuclear exchange than Americans think.
Exactly. And I mean, it's in our eyes right in front of us every day. Look at Evergrande overnight. The stock fell another 25% overnight after Chinese police detained some of the company's wealth management staff over the weekend. The company reportedly failed to repay investors, Gordon, so they go in there and they retain the people from Evergrande. You know, you've got this happening over and over again. Yesterday, on Sunday Morning Futures, I was talking with Congressman Michael Waltz, and he made a stunning remark. He said that right now, as we speak, Hunter Biden's company, Rosemont Seneca, is still an equity holder of a Chinese nuclear supplier. A Chinese nuclear supplier company has an equity holder in the First Son. So you tell me where this starts. This starts with this administration. You can't blame everything on business. If this administration were tough on China, maybe business would get the lead, take the lead in terms of pushing back on communist China. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, a spokesperson for Hunter Biden's legal team in March said that a Chinese energy company paid the Biden family millions as, quote, good faith seed funds. Well, that's an admission of corruption, Maria, because corruption is the only explanation why a Chinese company would pay such sums in those circumstances. And the president of the United States has an obligation to talk to the American people about Chinese influence on his family and the effect of the money. You know, he has refused to do that. But clearly there's a connection because you have policies that are not defending America. At the same time, China's enriching his son.
Unbelievable. Gordon, this story gets worse and worse every day and really dangerous every day. It's great to have your insights on all of this. Gordon, thank you.
Thank you, Maria.